I'm open, I'm not against you, but I'm curious how the atrocities people endured many years ago has something to do with people today. White ignorance towards the concept of residual effect not only astounds, but is an insult. I'll oblige. Allow me to begin by posing a question. Can you name one thing that black people do to themselves that is detrimental that cannot be linked back to slavery? Ponder that as I continue. Sir Isaac Newton's third law of motion states to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. A reaction is an effect of an initial action. Are you aware that there are more black men in prison than there were slaves on plantations 200 years ago? And why would this be the case? Could it be that after you committed such heinous atrocity, you also had to commit yourself to locking up the very strong men that may retaliate? And who is responsible for locking these men up? It most certainly is not the dead slave owners, but rather their descendants that took on the harsh taskmaster posture of their predecessors. A residual effect. Do these atrocities not make a psychological imprint in the minds of the slain and tormented? In layman's terms, if somebody killed your grandfather, would you want to go and make friends with their grandson? If you would, you'd be stupid, if not for the only reason that a murderer may pass down his mannerisms and characteristics to his seed. And as we've seen by your police force, that is most certainly the case. Is there no link between the whites that take black life today with their forefathers and foremothers that took black life in the past? Did the Tuskegee experiment not have an effect on black people's trust in taking a jab today? Residual effect. And why would whites not think that past atrocity is an open tab that still needs to be closed? The concept of karma, or what goes around comes around, seems applicable. And would it not be spitting on the graves of black forefathers and foremothers to not seek righteous retribution? You all still mourn 9/11 for the lives lost, and you also went into another country and committed mass murder. Was that righteous retribution, or should you have turned the other cheek? A residual effect. And why have blacks en masse not retaliated on white people since slavery? Is it possible that the harsh treatment and fear-mongering that took place in that time period was not passed down to future generations? Residual effect. Plainly stated, residual effect plagues black thought and black community. We wake up every day knowing there is a possibility we will lose our lives to a white person and said person will not be held accountable, but rather hoisted up in the fashion of true patriotism while the dead is defamed. Oh yes, you most certainly have something to do with the atrocities of your forefathers. And that something to do is carrying on the legacy of a slave master. Whether you have done something personally to a black person is inconsequential. Your mere existence upholds the tenets of oppression. Slavery was not just brutal for the time being, it imposed many thoughts, ideas, philosophies, and fears that were handed down to children. Are whites attempting to quell those fears, or did they steal a civil rights movement in the name of a certain community while advertising that perhaps you would be a better person if you were to adopt a child abroad or purchase a dog that was impounded? And should not that lack of empathy incur a residual effect? Do you honestly believe that black people accept your announcements of love while you slap us in the face with your inability to recognize our strife? And why would we if you continually show your hatred for us by way of present-day atrocity? The phrase, "we should all come together and join hands," is empty when you fail to express your affection for us through action. Because love is never in what you say, it's always in what you do. Because slavery still hasn't ended, it's simply evolved and changed its face. Bars.